This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's Thursday, May 28th, right now on Good Morning Indiana.
People should be safe inside their houses. Our children should be safe on their porches, playing in their yards. That should be the case here and everywhere else. And in some of our neighborhoods, it's not.
A crisis in Indianapolis that has been overshadowed by the COVID-19 pandemic. How IMPD officers are responding to an increase in deadly violence across the Circle City.
We will be taking another step forward in Marion County, implementing many of the aspects of Stage 3.
Another step forward for businesses in Marion County. Working for you this morning, what will and won't be allowed as we prepare to move into Stage 3. And with many students on summer break, some parents may be looking to keep their kids learning because of the interruption in the spring. This morning, we're looking at what you can do to keep your kids on track. And thank you so much for starting your morning with us here on Good Morning Indiana. Lauren Casey has the morning off. I'm Nicole Griffin.
Nicole, good morning. I'm Rafael Sanchez. We are continuing our social distancing. Welcome, Nicole, to the official RTV6 living room here in Johnson County. By the way, Nicole, the flowers are for you because Todd Clausen, we need to brighten our day up today with all this rain in the forecast. What's going on?
Yeah, you know, we told you as we progressed through this week, it was Thursday and Friday that are probably going to be the days that the rainfall is going to be the most widespread. And right on cue, Raphael, we're dealing with some rain showers this morning. I know you've seen some in your neighborhood, and just south of you, we actually have some pockets of heavier rain. So as we look at Storm Team 6 radar, you can see the heavy rainfall to the south in the Bloomington and Seymour area. This is actually the second go-round of heavier rain for you. Back to Bloomfield as well. Nashville, some heavier rain. Columbus just on the border of light rain and moderate rainfall just off towards your west. We'll slide to the north. Pretty good band of rain here right along I-70. That stretches from Brazil through Greencastle back towards Danville. Light rain showers just went through Franklin, pushing now from Greenwood towards Beech Grove. And then on the eastern side of the state, some pockets of heavier rainfall now. Once again, moving into Henry County, Knightstown over towards Newcastle. These showers will continue to lift to the north. So everybody will deal with some form of rain here this morning. Some of you heavier rain, some of you dealing with just some lighter showers. Temperatures are in the 60s, so it's mild. It's muggy still this morning. Throughout the day today, I think it does dry out a little bit this afternoon. We'll transition from more widespread rain to isolated showers and storms. We'll talk more about that with your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Nicole.
Todd, thank you. And one of the places where we can see the rain is picking up is here on the city's west side. This is a live look right now at I-465 at West 10th Street. Traffic seems to be picking up here in this area, but despite the rain, everything is still moving up to speed. We will keep an eye out on traffic all morning long here on Good Morning Indiana and keep an eye on any delays that may impact your commute. We begin with breaking news this morning. One person is dead after a shooting on Indy's northwest side. Officers responded to Big Oak Drive near Georgetown Road and 56th Street around 4 a.m. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. This is a developing story, and we will continue to update you as soon as we learn new information. This morning's shooting is just the latest in a string of violence across the Circle City. The uptick of deadly violence in Indianapolis is being overshadowed by the COVID-19 pandemic.
So, Nicole, let's look at the numbers. IMPD has investigated some 68 criminal homicides between January and this past Tuesday. Let's put that in perspective this morning. There were 43 criminal homicides in that same time frame just last year. We reached out to IMPD to discuss this trend. Assistant Chief Chris Bailey tells us a spike in deadly violence started in November and December of last year and carried into the new year. He says it leveled out in March and April before skyrocketing in May. In some of this year's especially disturbing cases, the victims were innocent children.
We see it how it's impacting our young people, which is even more troubling in some aspects, especially when you have innocent kids who are where they should be in the safety of their home are hit by stray bullets. And, you know, that's due to the reckless behavior of people with guns.
So let's look at some of these cases. Tuesday night, an infant was struck by a stray bullet on the city's east side. He's expected to survive. In separate shootings within the past 2 months, 2 young people were killed by stray bullets. Police say 16-year-old Nia Cope was riding in a car with her family near 38th and Arlington when she was shot on May the 3rd. And then on March the 31st, 8-year-old Roderick Payne Jr. was eating dinner in his home on North Tacoma Avenue when he was killed by a stray bullet. There are no reported arrests in any of those cases. Assistant Chief Bailey says it is now up to the community and police to change that.
In a couple of our cases, we've gotten zero information, and we know there are people out there that know who pulled the trigger in these cases, and they refuse to come forward, and that's shameful. That's shameful, and it's unacceptable in a civilized society. Some of that's on us. We have to build better relationships in our community, too. Those most impacted by violence have the most distrust in law enforcement, and we have to own that part on us to help build those strong relationships so that we can work together to solve this problem.
Overall, the homicide rate in Indianapolis is up in 2020, but police say crime overall is down in the Circle City. We will continue to keep a close eye on this trend. You can find a more in-depth report on this very complicated issue on our website, theindychannel.com.
It is 6:06 now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. The U.S. has passed a grim milestone. In less than 4 months, more than 100,000 American lives have been lost to COVID-19. That's according to Johns Hopkins. That's higher than the number of U.S. military combat deaths in every conflict since the Korean War. And according to the CDC, COVID-19 cases in mid-April were about 20 times greater than the seasonal flu. Worldwide, more than 355,000 people have died from COVID-19. Of the more than 5.6 million of cases of the coronavirus, more than 2.3 million have recovered. Health leaders say a vaccine is possible by the end of the year.
And Nicole, here at home, the state is now reporting 1,871 Hoosiers have died because of COVID-19. According to the State Department of Health, 21 new cases have now been confirmed. That happened yesterday. They recorded between April the 14th and this past Tuesday. 370 new cases were also reported, bringing the total number of positive cases in our state to more than 32,000. The state has now tested over 230,000 Hoosiers. About 14% of those have come back positive.
Marion County businesses will begin reopening on Monday. The announcement made by Mayor Joe Hogg said yesterday was exciting for many business owners who have been closed since mid-March. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning at the Ursay Family YMCA downtown, one of the many fitness centers that will be reopening. Alyssa, good morning.
That's right, Nicole. So very exciting for a lot of these businesses. And on Monday, the YMCA will be able to reopen at half capacity. So people waiting to get into the gym, you'll finally be able to. They'll also be able to get into community pools as well as indoor dining, which is also going to be opening at 50% capacity on Monday. Personal services like salons and spas will also be able to reopen by appointment only with personal protective equipment and social distancing guidelines. We spoke to a woman who owns 2 salons. Both of those are in Marion County. Sylvia Captive says it's been challenging the past couple of months, and she was lucky enough to get a small business loan, but she still feels grateful she could stay afloat while remaining closed. After the announcement, customers were already calling to make appointments.
We have a lot of clients that said we're so glad that you're able to reopen. They're just glad that we are going to be able to go back in business, and we were able to survive through this.
Most of the state is already in stage 3 of Governor Holcomb's reopening plan. Marion County is behind schedule due to the highest number of COVID-19 cases. And before you head back to the gym or the salons on Monday, you might want to call and check what their guidelines are and find out if you need to either make an appointment or if you have to wear a mask. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
The time now is 6:09 here on Good Morning Indiana. In our Democracy 2020 coverage, it looks like Hoosiers in big numbers will be voting by mail. Let me take you to the Johnson County Courthouse here in Franklin. In 2016, the clerk's office mailed out 1,028 ballots. The number this year is 10 times larger. The clerk has mailed out this time around more than 11,484 ballots for the June 2nd primary.
Our voters are very interested in this election. It is a presidential. With the safety, I think that our voters are concerned, not only for themselves, but for our poll workers that normally work. And that's why they're voting by mail. Once we receive those ballots here every day, we have a system processing them into our statewide voter system. And then at the after we've processed all of those ballots into our voter system, we run a report, and then our bipartisan team balances the report with the ballots daily.
The clerk says that in-person voting includes the cleaning, as you can see, of voting machines after each person has cast their ballot. The county received PPE from the state. Now, here's the big picture this morning. The Secretary of State's office tells RTV6 that as of Tuesday, 545,935 Hoosiers had requested to vote by mail. That is a huge number, as you can see. Compare that number to the last presidential year of 2016, and there was no pandemic. The state says in 2016, they mailed out 53,818 Hoosiers who voted by absentee. As a reminder for you, you can also vote early in person. There are 3 early voting sites right here in Marion County: Broad Ripple and Beech Grove High Schools and the City County Building in Indianapolis. You can go to voteindy.gov for times. There's also where you can find the list of the city's 22 Election Day voting centers.
In Raphael, summer break is already underway for thousands of Hoosier students, but some parents are concerned their child might be behind in school because of COVID-19. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with what school officials say you can do to help out your child. Well, just because school's out doesn't mean learning has to stop. And for us as adults, we don't see these small summer activities as learning experiences, but that's exactly what they are for young kids. Alyssa Lockwood is the principal at Mount Comfort Elementary School. She says summer enrichment is an important part of a child's growth and learning. Playing outside, building something, having a water balloon fight, and so much more are all things kids can do to continue to learn, just in a different way than we imagine at school.
For summer learning is always to keep reading as well. I think, keeping in a good routine. I know I have 3 elementary age kids, and my kids are in a routine of reading every night. And so now that we're in the summer, they get to choose what books they read every night. And so that's important for them to have choice and ownership in that.
Lockwood says kids at Mount Vernon schools got to keep their Chromebooks over the summer so they can still utilize the learning programs they're already used to. A lot of local libraries are doing virtual and in-person reading programs this summer where kids can earn rewards for every single book they read. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6. Kelsey, thank you. As more of the state reopens, unemployed workers may be called back to their jobs. But what do you do if you don't feel safe? After the break, we'll walk you through the steps you need to follow to keep your benefits and stay healthy. Todd.
And rain is overspreading central Indiana here this morning. In fact, many of you have dealt with numerous rounds of rainfall already this Thursday morning. It's going to be a wet morning for us with drier hours later on this afternoon. We'll talk about the rainfall for today, the rainfall for tomorrow, but also a very nice stretch of weather that arrives just in time for the weekend coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 6:13. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Competitors forced your home. That's who.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Our Rebound Indiana initiative is tackling the issues that will help you make it through the pandemic. Our team continues to focus on those having difficulty with their unemployment benefits.
And that's because this is a huge issue right now in our state. So let's say that you are called back to work, right? But when you get there, you don't feel safe. Now, before you decide not to return, you'll want to take some key steps to protect your unemployment benefits. This morning, we continue your guide to managing unemployment. You would say to someone, if they're going to take the step of not accepting that position, to at least have all their documentation together, so when they have to make their appeal, that they will be ready to move forward with their claim. Is that a fair
That's
statement?
absolutely right. So, and let's just go ahead and take that one step further and say that, the first step here is just open communication between employers and their employees. And that really goes both ways. To the extent that you're an individual that's facing this situation, I would certainly encourage you to be open with your employer about what your concerns are and make sort of recommendations about what might make it better for you. And again, that will be relevant to us. Did you attempt to maintain the employment relationship will be important. Conversely, certainly my recommendation to employers that they work with their employees to try to make sure that they're creating the kind of environment that brings those employees back. Look, we know that if Indiana's economy is going to bounce back the way that we want it to, the way we expect it to, that it's going to require that individuals return to work. And so, it's really incumbent on employers and employees to try to facilitate the discussions that lead to a successful and healthy and safe return to the work environment.
Josh Richardson with the Department of Workforce Development, thank you for that. Tomorrow, can you receive benefits if your work hours are cut? Our series on managing unemployment continues tomorrow morning right here on Good Morning Indiana. The time now is 6:18. Let's check your forecast with Todd Clausen. Good morning, TK.
Raphael, good morning to you. And you had a little bit of light rain there in the Franklin area this morning. You're getting a little bit of a break right now, but just down to the south of you, we have additional rain that's going to be overspreading the area. And all these showers have been moving in from south to north throughout the course of the overnight hours and now into the morning. The further north you are, the less rain you have seen so far, but that will be changing. To the east, you've had multiple rounds of rain. Heaviest rain now moving into Henry County as you work your way through the Newcastle area down towards Knightstown. This does impact I-70 if you have to get out on the roadways. Here this morning, then Bloomington over to Nashville and Columbus, some pretty decent rain. The one thing you do not see on Storm Team 6 radar is any lightning. This is just plain old rain that's moving through, a band of light rain moving through the metro area right now, stretching back towards Brownsburg as well as Danville, some light rain in Shelbyville currently, and this is all again sliding up to the north through the area. There's a couple things going on here on a very busy satellite radar map, not only here in central Indiana, but across most of the Midwest. You notice a couple swirls. We have this one down here near Memphis and in Arkansas, which is an upper level area of low pressure. This batch of rain off to our east, that is actually the remnants of what was Tropical Storm Bertha that made landfall in South Carolina yesterday. And then to the north, we have a cold front, which is this band of rain that I'm circling right now. So all of this is going to start to work its way through the area. The first thing we deal with, though, is this slow moving area of low pressure that is going to be making its way closer to central Indiana. That's why we need to keep the rain in the forecast throughout the day. The heaviest of the rain and the most widespread rain is probably going to be this morning. Once we get into the afternoon hours, there will be some dry hours, even some sunshine mixed in. So the day is not a complete washout for us. That is the good news. And then as we work our way into the overnight hours and tomorrow, rain chances will increase. I mentioned that cold front. That cold front is what is going to clear all this heat, all this humidity we've been dealing with out of the area. But to get to that point, we have to go through a round of showers and potentially some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. This is tomorrow at noon. You notice a broken line of heavier rain, and some of those storms could be borderline strong to severe. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on for you across the area. With the drier conditions this afternoon, temperatures will eventually climb up into the 70s. Tomorrow is going to be a cooler day for us simply because we'll have the clouds around. However, don't give up on plans for Friday night if you do have them, as I think Friday evening, most of the rain is out of here and we should be getting into some sunshine if you want to do that outdoor dining. If you are going to be out and about doing anything on Saturday and Sunday, you're just fine. A lower humidity, a more comfortable air mass, highs only in the low 70s. Monday's terrific as well before we start to warm things back up as we head into the middle of next week.
Todd, thank you. A North Carolina boy is quickly becoming Raleigh's favorite prom king. How he pulled off a special event for his favorite high school senior coming up.
And did you know about 210,000 Americans younger than 20 years old either have diabetes type 1 or type 2, which represents 0.25% of all people in this age group. RTV6 is a proud partner for this year's American Diabetes Association's Indiana Tour de Cure, and this year it's going virtual on June the 6th. We encourage everyone to get active by either walking, running, or cycling. Good morning to Pendleton, Pittsburgh, and Plainfield. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
We are Value City Furniture.
Welcome back now to Good Morning Indiana. The time now is 6:24, and it's time to take a look at what's trending now at 6 o'clock.
So, Nicole, when the border between the U.S. and Canada closed to non-essential travel because of the pandemic, many families were cut off from loved ones on either side of that border. So what did they do? They did something great. The park between Washington State and British Columbia recently has reopened, and it's bridging that gap between friends and loved ones. Now, visitors are allowed to cross inside Peace Arch Park, that's what it's called, without having to show a passport. So families are using it as a place to reunite. A great way to reconnect during this pandemic.
Such a good idea. And a teen in North Carolina couldn't attend her high school prom because of the pandemic, but she still had a special bash thrown just for her. Rachel Chapman is a nanny, and the 7-year-old that she watches, Curtis, wanted to do something special for her. So he had the entire night planned out, from their favorite afternoon school snack, peanut butter and apples as an appetizer, to using a pool noodle to maintain a safe social distancing. It looks like they did a little dancing there too.
Curtis is quite the gentleman. I am sure he'll have no problem when it's his turn to have a prom day. All right, look at him and his moves. Okay. And a virtual high five on this morning to Kaylee Madison. Kaylee is our hometown hero today, Nicole. This is a picture of Kaylee and her fellow team members who work in the Otterbein COVID-19 unit here in Franklin. Good morning to her and to all of her fellow co-workers. And Todd, as I take a live look from my living room window, it's been raining in Franklin, but it's stopped for now. But I know that you are looking at a very active radar.
Yeah, you know, it may not be raining in your neighborhood there in Raphael. I know you did have some rain a little bit earlier, but there's some areas where the rain is coming down quite steady and even heavy in spots. As you look at Storm Team 6 radar, you can see the rain stretching from southern locations pushing to the north. And you're about to get into another heavier band of rain in Johnson County over the next half hour or so. The one area hasn't rained a whole lot so far this morning is to the north up in the Lafayette as well as the Peru area, but you will get into the rain showers here this morning. I think the most widespread rain is probably during the morning hours today, and then once we transition into the afternoon hours, there'll still be some rain chances in the forecast, but things become a little more scattered in nature. So if you're thinking about an outdoor walk or run or maybe a bike ride, I would suggest maybe holding off until the afternoon hours compared to this morning, as the rain showers will become a little less numerous. They do pick up, though, as you see, by 11 p.m. tonight, and that's going to carry over into your Friday. More on your extended forecast in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. The streaming wars continue to heat up. HBO Max launched on Wednesday, but is it worth adding another streaming service? Our John Matarese takes a look at what it's bringing to the table so you don't waste your money.
Don't get enough shows from Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, and Hulu? Well, now you have another option, HBO Max. The already crowded streaming wars are now even more crowded with the launch of HBO Max. The streaming service includes HBO fan favorites like Game of Thrones and Westworld, as well as classic TV shows including Friends, which is moving over from its former home on Netflix. Also, Looney Tunes cartoons, which Disney must have forgotten to buy. HBO Max also kicks off with a much-hyped series called Love Life, starring Anna Kendrick. It costs $14.99 a month. The tech site The Verge says it's a better deal than HBO Now, but it's double the price of Disney Plus or Apple TV Plus. You're going to have to decide if it's worth paying for as those streaming TV bills get higher and higher all the time. So always don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
John, thank you. For more cost-saving tips and ideas, visit the money section of our website, theindychannel.com.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
That one, Good Morning Indiana, on this Thursday morning. Here's a look at your 6:30 news feed. We continue to follow breaking news from the northwest side of Indianapolis. One person is dead after a shooting that happened less than 3 hours ago. Officers responded to Big Oak Drive. This is near 56th Street and Georgetown Road around 4 this morning. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. We are still working to learn more about what led to this shooting.
Wednesday marked 3 weeks since a Metro police officer shot and killed a man on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Outside of the city-county building, people wrote messages in chalk in support of Dre'Jon Reed. Investigators say Reed led police on a chase and then exchanged gunfire with an officer when he was killed on May 6th. The nature of that shooting is still under investigation.
Perhaps some encouraging numbers on the COVID-19 pandemic from the Indiana Department of Health. The state reported 370 new cases on Wednesday, but the number of new cases has noticeably been lower on a daily basis this week than in past weeks. 21 new deaths were also reported statewide. Since the pandemic began, nearly 1,900 Hoosiers have died from COVID-19.
The list of summer recreation possibilities in Indiana is growing shorter. The Department of Natural Resources says state park swimming pools will not open this summer. The pools are not the problem, but the state says that space limitations on pool decks would make social distancing difficult. The good news is that most state park beaches have enough room for people to spread out and practice social distancing on the sand or grassy areas.
Another event postponed due to the pandemic. This is a popular one in downtown Indianapolis. Indy PopCon says it will not hold its scheduled in-person event at the Indiana Convention Center in July. The leaders of the comic and pop culture convention say they hope to reschedule for later this year. If they are unable to do so, they say your tickets that you bought for this year's PopCon will be good next year. On this Thursday, May the 28th, as I take a look outside of my living room window here in Franklin and Johnson County, it has been raining, but Nicole, it stopped. But I know that Todd is looking at a very busy radar this morning.
Yeah, we see that radar right behind you this morning, Todd. People are waking up to rain all across central Indiana.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of rain, especially from Indianapolis to the south. And Raphael, you won't have to water your flowers again today outside because you're about to get some more rain in your backyard. There's a band of heavier rain sitting just south of Franklin here this morning that's going to be lifting to the north. So that's one good aspect, right? You don't have to get out there and water the flowers. You're going to have to mow your grass, though, as the grass is growing really quick across central Indiana with all this rain. All right, let's go into some of your hometowns. Bloomington up to Martinsville, and Nashville dealing with some pretty heavy rainfall. There is Franklin on the map, and you can see as we zoom in, we're dealing with some rainfall just to the south. Nineveh, Trafalgar, we're dealing with some rain moving in. Edinburgh as well. We'll slide a little further here up to the north, and we are dealing with a band of rain that just went through downtown. Some decent rain through Brownsburg now up to Zionsville, back to just south of Crawfordsville. And we're also dealing with some rain on the eastern side of the state in Newcastle and Springport. So this rain is all lifting to the north. So those of you in northern locations, you'll eventually get into some rain. The good news is it's just rain. We're not dealing with any thunderstorms currently across the area, although there could be an isolated storm or two later on this afternoon. But I do think the afternoon hours will be drier than this morning, so that will give you an opportunity to get out and about. It's warm, it's muggy still, with high temperatures, Nicole, right around 80 degrees.
Todd, thank you. Here's a live look at I-465 at Kentucky Avenue on the city's southwest side, and you can see a sheen on the road from all that rain that Todd has been talking about all morning long. But despite the rain, the interstates around the metro area are moving up to speed. No crashes or delays to report at this hour. Marion County is moving forward with its plan to allow more businesses to reopen and to allow those already open to allow more customers inside. The announcement from Mayor Joe Hogshead was exciting for some business owners who have been closed since mid-March. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning at the Ursay Family YMCA downtown, one of the many fitness center locations that will be reopening, but with strict social distancing guidelines in place. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Nicole. So the Ursay YMCA will be opening on Monday at half capacity. There are several YMCAs in the central Indiana area that have already been able to open because they're in neighboring counties. Now, it's a similar story for hair salons and spas as well as tattoo parlors. Those will all be able to reopen in Marion County by appointment only. We spoke to Sylvia Captive, who owns 2 salons in Marion County. She says she's happy she'll be able to see her customers again and get back to business. Captive was able to secure a small business loan during the 2-month closure, which was helpful, but she says it was still a struggle to be closed for that long. The announcement that she would be able to reopen was met with excitement by her clients.
We have a lot of clients that said we're so glad that you're able to reopen. They're just glad that we are going to be able to go back in business, and we were able to survive through this.
Salon, spa, and tattoo parlor workers are required to wear personal protective equipment. Many are also going to be requiring customers to wear masks, and some will be taking clients' temperatures as they walk in the door. And along with salons and tattoo parlors, we are also going to see indoor dining opening at restaurants across Marion County. Those are going to be opening at 50% capacity. A lot of those restaurants are recommending that you make reservations. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. The time now is 6:35 here on Good Morning Indiana, and today is decision day for the Johnson County Fair, one of the biggest in central Indiana. We have seen a number of counties cancel their summer events, but COVID-19 is also impacting the sale of 4-H show animals because of the unknown. Nosy by nature, pigs are curious, and they're probably wondering why they're not working with kids. So a year ago today, if I came to visit you, you'd have nothing in those barns.
We would be empty except what we are going to keep for our show schedule. Everybody's a little nervous, so sales of your animals hasn't been as good as it has in the past years.
This is the Ankeny farm in Trafalgar. Andrew had budgeted and invested in 6 pigs, but COVID-19 impacted the sales of show animals with 4-H fairs up in the air. His daughter has won her fair share of ribbons, as you can see, and she has not given up on her project.
I'm still doing it the usual way I'm doing it, just playing it by ear. Hopefully nothing major gets canceled. To me, it's more about the fun and the memories being made. It's not all about just focusing on the banners and winning everything.
So no matter if we have the county fair or not, projects are still completed. You're still graded on it, if you will, and we still learn what we can learn from it.
Pigs initially meant for competitions are now facing a menu of limited choices. And so 5 of those 6 pigs meant to be show animals were sold to be butchered. As for the Johnson County Fair, the Fair Board will vote tonight on one of possibly 5 options for their event in mid-July. Johnson County could see a full fair as they saw last year. That's one option, or maybe a limited fair with a few rides and vendors, an online fair just for the 4-H participants, an in-person fair just for the 4-H kids and their projects, or no fair at all. The vote is set for tonight at 7 o'clock.
And coming up on Good Morning Indiana, most summer internships have also been canceled because of the pandemic, but there are still opportunities for young people. Next, our Hiring Hoosiers initiative highlights a nonprofit group that's offering work and pay to students.
And Nicole, just because school is out, it does not mean learning has to stop. Coming up, some advice on summer educational activities to keep your kids on track. The time now is 6:38. You're watching Good Morning Indiana.
Of our competitors, Florist Your Home. That's who.
Nicole and I welcome you back to Good Morning Indiana. Hiring Hoosiers is sharing career training options if your plans were derailed because of this pandemic. And that includes college students, Nicole, planning on summer internships.
Yeah, and to help, Indiana nonprofit Tech Point created the SOS Challenge, which offers 500 students a paid replacement internship. Those interns will be given a team challenge to solve real issues caused by the pandemic. The top 3 teams will present their ideas to Governor Eric Holcomb, and the winners will share a $25,000 prize. IUPUI student Jessica Sebastian lost her cybersecurity internship this summer and has already been selected for the challenge. She is excited and encourages others to check it out.
Apply. Jump in, come and join the team, hop in on a team, especially if you have an idea, if you see something that our society, Indianapolis, needs that has occurred during this pandemic, that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for people that are excited and want to get experience this summer.
To be considered for the challenge, students must apply online by June 1st. The program begins June 15th. You can find a link to the application at hiringhoosiers.com.
The time now is 6:42. School is over for many Hoosier kids, but parents are really concerned that their children may be not ready for the next school grade because of all the disruptions caused by COVID-19. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with what you can do to make sure that your child does not suffer from the summer brain drain.
Now that summer is here, there are so many ways that you can keep your child engaged in learning each and every day. Alyssa Lockwood is the principal at Mount Comfort Elementary School. She says the #1 tip she has for parents this summer is to continue reading each and every day. She says giving your child the option on which book to read gives them the choice and ownership. But she says just playing is also a learning experience in itself.
So getting outside, building rockets, building sandcastles, having water balloon fights, all of those things are fun ways that kids are continuing to learn, just in a different way than we would think of during school.
Lockwood says kids at Mount Vernon schools got to keep their Chromebooks over the summer so they can still utilize the learning programs they are already used to. A lot of local libraries are doing virtual and in-person reading programs this summer where kids can earn rewards for every single book they read. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV 6.
Kelsey, thank you. And we are still waiting to learn what precautions K-12 schools will take when they reopen in the fall. But volunteers across Indiana are helping equip districts with face masks if they're needed. Nearly 6,000 people are part of the Facebook group Sew and Serve. They originally made masks for healthcare workers, but once hospitals in need received shipments of personal protective equipment, the group changed its focus to schools. Organizers are now working with 26 districts, including Avon, Zionsville, Noblesville, and Hamilton Southeastern.
As we go out and about, we see the face coverings. We know they're recommended, but yet they're very difficult to come by. And so when Ann Steele from Sew and Serve reached out via email just asking, it was almost like this is too good to be true. Is this some kind of scam?
I thought I could sew 100 masks and donate them to Eskenazi. This is beyond anything I could have imagined.
Well, Sew and Serve is taking enrollment numbers from school districts to find out if the group can provide every student with a mask in the fall. For more information, go to theindychannel.com and click on this story.
Celebrating the heroes of the pandemic. Next on Good Morning Indiana, how one city took time to say thank you to those on the front lines. And Todd Clawson, I'm going to need to borrow your lawnmower. The rain has returned to Franklin, and my lawn will not stop growing.
Yeah, that's the case across much of central Indiana, especially if you put fertilizer on that lawn earlier in the year. It's growing like crazy with all this rain, and the rain continues to overspread central Indiana here this morning. The rainfall coverage to start our day is going to be fairly widespread, but as we work our way into the afternoon hours, it becomes more scattered in nature. We'll talk all about the rain for today and tomorrow and look ahead to what should be a beautiful weekend coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on RTV 6.
With AAA. Get a quote and save up to 20%.
It's 6:47. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The community continues to show support for senior citizens all across central Indiana. Nursing homes and long-term care centers have been hit hard by COVID-19.
And Nicole, we've seen all kinds of tributes put across our state. But last night, this happened up in Hamilton County in Carmel. Those were good sirens. On Wednesday, the Carmel Police and Fire Departments led a parade outside a senior living facility on 116th Street. Neighbors also participated, decorating their cars and holding signs with inspirational messages, as you can see. Organizers say they wanted to cheer up the residents and staff members at that facility. The time now is 6:48, and Todd Clawson, May is earning its name as one of the wettest months. It is now not pouring, but we're seeing a moderate rain here in Franklin in Johnson County.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think of that, Raphael, but May is the wettest month on average for the city of Indianapolis throughout the entire year. July is second, so we're actually running a little bit above normal. On average, we see about 5 inches of rain for the entire month, and we're closing in on that number. And we may even surpass that here later on today, as the umbrella will be needed from start to finish today. And here's the current look at Storm Team 6 radar with some heavier rainfall in parts of the area. No lightning, no, that's the good news. Muncie to Springport to Newcastle, some heavier rain. Knightstown back down through Rushville, we're dealing with some pretty good showers. And then some heavier rainfall just went through Bloomington and Nashville. The heaviest of the rain just getting ready to move into your backyard, Raphael, in the Franklin area. Stretches south through southern Johnson County. Then over in Morgan County, Martinsville, some pretty good rainfall. We'll slide to the north, and we're dealing with some heavier rain just moving into Carmel, Lebanon, and Greenfield. And all this rain is moving off into northern locations. So for those of you who have not had a lot of rainfall to the north, you will start to get into some rain here throughout the morning hours. It's a steady band of rain that's moving through Indiana right now, but you look to our south, and there's definitely some breaks out there. And overall, this is just a very unsettled weather pattern with this area of low pressure spinning here. This was what's left of Bertha, the tropical storm that made landfall yesterday. But the clearing line is up near Minneapolis. That's the cold front that's going to come through tomorrow. So the steady rain this morning goes to the north. This afternoon, there's dry hours. You can get out and about. It's not a complete washout here throughout the day. But once we get closer to sunset and then beyond, the showers do become a little more numerous as that cold front starts to approach. And then that front comes through central Indiana starting mid-morning tomorrow in northwestern locations. And then early afternoon, it exits the state off towards the east. And once that front comes through, there'll be a drastic change in our weather pattern. Today with the cloud cover, probably not as warm or hot as it's been the past couple days. Highs right around 80 degrees. And then as that front comes through tomorrow, highs will only be in the low 70s. Now, as you look at Friday's planner, it's wet to start as that front comes through. But notice by 4 o'clock onward, the sunshine comes out. So that's why if you do have plans for Friday evening, do not cancel them because of the rain. If you pull up the app on your phone and it's showing rain, that's not an all-day thing. It's just in the morning hours. And then look at Saturday and Sunday. High temperatures in the low 70s, lower humidity as well. It's going to be terrific and a welcome change from all the heat and humidity we have been dealing with. We will start to ramp up the mugginess and the humidity and the temperature as we get into the middle of next week. So have the umbrella handy Thursday and Friday, which is today and tomorrow. Great stretch of weather in the middle of your 7-day planning forecast, and then more summer-like as we round out the month of May and get into the month of June.
Todd, thank you. Let's take a live look outside this morning at I-65 at the South Split. You can see here construction crews are busy already this morning as the westbound lanes of I-70 are closed from the Split to Ronald Reagan. It's 6:52. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back after this break.
The RTV6 app on your phone or streaming device.
It is time now for Throwback Thursday, and today we're looking back at what may be the most popular radio show in the history of Indianapolis.
So the Bob and Tom Show premiered right here in Indianapolis on Q95 WFBQ back on March the 7th, 1983. What a year. Loyal listeners took Bob Kavorian and Tom Griswold to the top of the ratings in just a few short years. A former WRTV anchor, Barbara Lewis, sat down with Bob back in 1989. Bob told us that when his then toddler son Toby grew up, he might try to steer him away from radio.
Remember when my dad took me out to the tool shed for the first time?
that against it, huh?
Well, for the most part, media, radio and such is such an insecure job because people change radio all the time, and everyone says bigger is better, but it always isn't. And I would like him to get something a little more secure, maybe own a radio station.
But whatever Toby decides to do, Dad says he's going to stay in radio for a long time, and Indianapolis is where he'd like to stay.
We've turned down offers from Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Detroit, all the biggies, and they're just nothing there that appeals to us, and we just soon stay right here because this is actually it's home now, and roots are here, and I just don't want to leave.
Bob Kavoyan and Tom Griswold would not leave Indianapolis. In fact, Bob retired in 2015, but the show, as you know, is still on the air, and it's still called The Bob and Tom Show. Bob and Tom are members of the Indiana Broadcast Pioneers Hall of Fame and the National Radio Hall of Fame, two broadcast legends that really set the bar not only here in Indianapolis, but across the country. Congratulations for their legacy, Nicole.
Yeah, definitely. I remember my dad listening to that when I was growing up. But let's get a quick check of our forecast with Todd before we go.
And, of course, Tom's still broadcasting here, the Bob and Tom Show to this day. All right, here's the radar strolling through central Indiana. Some rain. Pretty widespread rain here this morning. It becomes more scattered later on this afternoon with highs right around 80 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We are back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic updates.